Shalom, family. It's good to see everybody here. Shalom to everybody in the chat. We're going to talk about Edward Cagney Mathews. This is an incident that happened in my state, and I used to work in Mount Laurel, so I know exactly where this man used to live. And, the prison that he is in, I'm not that far away from that either. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it. We know what happened now. The incident happened in 2021, where he was literally a menace within the community he lived in. He lived in the condo of his ex-wife, and things just fell apart. Now, this dude, even with his tears and apologies, I do not feel bad for him. The main ones that he was attacking in that uh, condo community were single mothers, single Black mothers, and Black elderly people. Those were his targets. I mean, a complete coward. And it didn't help that the Mount Laurel police did not intervene. They complained about this man for years and they would never do anything. And it's like most of the stories, it wasn't until it went viral online and the news channels start picking up on it, all of a sudden the Mount Laurel police jumps up and, goes after him. And the reason why they didn't, y'all, is because he went to high school with a couple of those officers. So they knew him for a long, long time and let him literally get away with everything he wanted to do. And, so the good part is he's jailed. The bad part is the sentencing. I don't think the sentencing was good enough. And you'll see what I mean when we get into the story. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you a video from local news on this subject matter. Okay, everybody, please give me a 1 if you can see the screen. If you can see my screen, please give me a 1. No, what he did was a hate crime. He was going around kicking people's doors in, illegally walking into people's homes. It was a hate crime, and he should have been slapped with hate crime charges. And I mean, like I said, I mean, I know some people are happy he's in jail. I'm not happy with the sentencing. So let's get into it. Let me go ahead and start this from the local Fox News.
Folks in one Burlington County community, the man who unleashed racially charged slurs at his neighbors 2 years ago, now sentenced to 8 years in jail. Edward Mathews learning his fate Friday after pleading guilty in October. Tonight, our Allie Reed back in the Mount Laurel neighborhood where it all happened to see how folks are feeling now.
It's been 2 years since former Mount Laurel resident Edward Mathews caused an uproar here in this community. Now today, neighbors say a sense of normalcy has returned as they breathe a sigh of relief.
Just thankfully it's behind us.
Mount Laurel resident Chris Smith is giving us a closer look at how families in the Essex Place condominium complex have coped since the July 2021 racially charged incident.
I would say ever since he's not been here, it's been a much more peaceful relationship with everyone.
Chatter moved throughout the community, though, after word got out Friday that 47-year-old Edward Mathews will be mandated to serve at least 4 years of an 8-year sentence.
He won't be back here, so good luck to him.
In October of this year, Mathews pleaded guilty to charges of bias, intimidation, and possession of a controlled substance. 2.5 years prior is when that initial incident occurred, as officers found him using racial slurs while engaged in a verbal altercation with a number of neighbors. That situation went viral, leading to eventual protests in the community.
It set a precedent for this town to be better.
Organizations like the NAACP worked with residents at that time.
Take this as a lesson about, taking Black folks seriously, taking the needs of the community seriously.
In court Friday, Mathews apologized to the victims for his insensitive words in the past. Looking ahead toward the future, his home in Mount Laurel now sold. The listing agent says it took some time for neighbors to warm up to the idea of anyone else coming in, but
once they realized, we would explain to the neighbors, you're getting somebody new. This is going to be a good neighbor you're going to have.
And a great family is now happily in its place. These are cute. Again, Mathews has served 2.5 years behind bars already. He'll be eligible for parole in 16 months. We're in Mount Laurel. Allie Reed, Fox 29 News.
Okay. So it was shortly after he went to prison back in 2021. That condo that he was living in was not even his. It was his ex-wife that was letting him stay there. And she sold it shortly after he was jailed. So he can't ever go back there, even when he gets out. So what I don't like is he got an 8-year sentence. The minimum he must serve is 4 years. He's already been in jail for 2 years. So y'all, he just got to do 2 additional years and technically he'll be free. Yeah, he should have been charged with a hate crime. I mean, I don't see how he got away with that. All of his targets were Black. So how does he skip on the hate crime charges? The prosecutor didn't do a good job. They should have been able to easily get him on that. So let's go over this story. So a Mount Laurel man, let me stop sharing for a moment. All right, here we go. All right, so here we go, y'all. So we know this happened in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, and this happened in 2021. So Edward Cagney Mathews is now 47 years old. He's been sentenced to an 8-year term in prison. And I did another video on him about a month ago because this is a plea deal that he got. So the plea deal is 8 years behind bars for racial intimidation, which was caught on video. And believe me, y'all, if this thing never went viral, he would probably still be out there free. The cops probably never would have done nothing to him. He went before a Black judge, His name is Gerard Breland, and he received his sentence this past Friday in court. So, a Mount Laurel man who stalked and harassed his black neighbors in a viral rant, and he called them monkeys and everything, all on video. And he said, "Come see me." And guess what? People turned up to see him. He was sentenced Friday to 8 years in prison after tearfully pleading for a lighter sentence. So he wept in court, y'all. Wept like a little baby. But, 2 years ago, he was running around like a little punk bitch up in that community. But he wept like a little girl up there in court. So he will be eligible for parole under the sentence imposed by the Superior Court Judge Gerard H. Breland. He pled guilty in October to 4 counts of bias, intimidation, and a drug charge under an agreement with the Burlington County Prosecutor's Office. So, in a case that made national headlines, it sure did. Back in 2021, Mathews was accused of harassing his neighbors, and the location he lived in was called Essex Place. And they did have a homeowners association, but they didn't, throw him out. And to me, the homeowners association, they should have been able to throw his butt right on out of there for what he was doing. But no, he was like Teflon John back then. He was untouchable. So he called the black residents monkeys. He would put feces on their property. What kind of person does that? You got to be an animal to put your poop on somebody's property. You're an animal. He sent threatening emails, letters, and shot BB pellets at their cars. Prosecutors say Mathews had a pattern of terrorizing black neighbors, as well as condo association board members dating back to 2020. Residents said, the community was racially diverse. It's located 17 miles east of the city of Philadelphia. They complained and complained. It was a pile of complaints about this man. And that's why Mount Laurel police got called out, and they were picketed because they did not do their job at all. People always say, "Oh, well, go to the police." And we know when it comes down to us as black people, the cops don't care about us. They don't care who attacks us, who does what. They don't care. Shoot, if Edward Cagney Mathews was not attacking the black people up in there, the police probably would have. So anyway, the prosecutors say Mathews had a pattern of terrorizing. The confrontations escalated on July 2nd, 2021, when Mathews verbally attacked a resident and made a video challenging neighbors to come see me, and gave out his address. And y'all know what happened. So a video of the incident went viral when hundreds from around the region showed up at his home, chanting his name and calling for his arrest. And they kept yelling, "Come outside, come outside." When they were out there by the hundreds, y'all, they were yelling for him to come outside. And of course, he didn't come outside until he had police escort. But he's so big and bad when he was up there in everybody's face. But when people turned up by the hundreds, because he was dumb enough to give out his address, he saw then people weren't playing with him. They were ready to deal with his butt on that day. So handcuffed and shackled in court on Friday, Mathews begged for leniency, sniffling and wiping away tears. He said he accepted personal responsibility and offered a brief apology to victims for my insensitive and disrespectful words in the past. He also expressed remorse that his actions destroyed his marriage. Him and his ex-wife were divorced then. He was just staying in her condo, but he was already divorced. So I don't know what he's talking about. Marriage and hurt his family. His wife sold their townhouse, he said, adding that he lost all of his possessions and has spent 21.2 years in jail. Yeah, because he's been in jail before, y'all. This is not the first time he's been jailed, you know. So he goes on to say every saint has a past and every sinner has a future. He told the judge in a 15-minute statement, I want to commit to rebuilding the community. I wouldn't want this man anywhere near a community. I tell you what, when he gets out of jail, he's going to have a hard time staying anywhere, especially around South Jersey where people know him. I don't know where he's going to stay. Maybe his ex-wife will take him in, but I don't know where this man is going to go and be embraced within the community. He won't. So, in an interview with the Enquirer shortly after the incident, Mathews apologized, because hundreds of people were outside of his house, and said his conduct stemmed from long-running housing dispute involving the homeowners association. Mathews also said he was drunk. Oh no, alcohol don't make you racist, y'all. Don't fall for that. Alcohol does not make you racist. So, Assistant County Prosecutor Jamie Hutchinson read the victim impact statements from 4 current and former residents of the Mount Laurel Condominium Association. She said they were afraid to come to court out of fear of retaliation. Most of the victims were in their 60s and 70s, she said. Look at the ages of the people he was messing with. 60s and 70s. What a coward. So anyway, LaRon Brown, the former Homeowners Association president, who is Black, and his wife, Denise, is white, moved out in 2021 after numerous altercations with Mathews. See, no, you don't ever let nobody drive you out of your home. But see, being that they weren't getting any help, and they're an elderly couple, I can kind of understand. But the couple had lived there since the development opened in 2001. Another Black board member moved too because of Mathews. The actions of what he did will forever stay a nightmare of the fear and anxiety he bestowed upon me, Denise Brown wrote in a statement. I'm constantly looking over my shoulder and trusting no one. Hutchinson also cited that Mathews' extensive criminal record. Y'all, this dude had 11 felonies before this incident took place. It's really true when they say the real criminals are outside of the jail. That is the truth. They said he had 11 felony convictions since 1995, and yet he was free to walk the streets and harass people. 11 felonies. So he was committing crimes since he was a teenager, all the way through adulthood. See, this is the criminal y'all should lock up for 4 or 5 decades, like you do innocent Black men that didn't commit a crime. You lock them up for decades. This is the one you should lock up for decades. 11 felonies before the incident in Mount Laurel. See, this is the one needs to stay in there for 50 years. You're keeping the wrong ones in there for 50 years. So anyway, he had drug convictions, barring him from possessing weapons. The authorities said the authorities found out he had a slingshot and 30 rounds of ball-bearing ammunition. he had mushrooms, those psychedelic mushrooms. That's what he had. That's what they found when they searched his condo. So Mathews tried unsuccessfully Friday to fire his lawyer. And this is actually his fourth lawyer. Okay, his fourth lawyer. But the judge rejected his argument and missed a chance to get a lighter sentence because of ineffective counsel. No, he should have gotten some kind of sentence, but he is trying to claim he got this sentence of 8 years because his attorneys were ineffective. I don't know what they could have done for him. Everything's on video. It's not like it's hearsay and they had a chance of fighting it. It wasn't. So Breland said he found, he didn't find anything wrong with the attorney or anything, and granting him a shorter sentence, deviate from the plea agreement. But no. So he is ordered. So the judge made the 8 years that he got stand. So he's ordered to pay $4,408 in restitution and undergo racial sensitivity training in prison. Y'all know that. I wish y'all would stop with that mess. You can't train racism out of a person. Y'all keep acting like we're going to look at that and think that's something. That is a bunch of nothing. It's a bunch of nothing. Mathews has been in custody since his arrest, and he will get credit for 886 days already spent in jail and will be eligible for parole in 16 months. That's what I was upset about. Y'all, they gonna let him go in 16 months. Make no mistake about it. He's not gonna have to stay in there beyond the next 16 months. So, yeah, so he's in jail and all that, but to me, in my opinion, he's still getting off way too easy for what he did. And for all those times he vandalized vehicles and kicked in doors of people's houses and illegally entered houses. Yeah, I mean, if any of us as Black men and women go and randomly kick in somebody's doors, trust me, you're going to get more than 8 years. So yeah, Jerome Williams, you're right. A privilege definitely played a part in this light sentence, 8 years, but technically he only have to do 16 more months behind jail because he's already been in there for 2 years. So that's all I have for today, y'all. You're going to have to let me know how you feel about this in the comment section. I'm glad the people in that community finally got relief and they don't have to worry about somebody like him now. I am happy for them in that sense, but he's never permitted to go back over there. But with somebody like him, you just never know. I would never fully trust this man, no matter where he go or what community he ends up in, because he's going to have to live somewhere one day. And I just hope the people are on alert. And the moment he start acting out because he's around a bunch of Black folk, y'all need to deal with him immediately. So y'all, thank you so much for being here. Y'all, don't even be surprised if he crops up in another state. I actually am anticipating that. He may not even stay in the state. He may crop up in somebody else's state. So thank you for being here, ladies and gentlemen. I see I did get George. Thank you for becoming a new member. And Ozzy Edwards, thank you for the $10 super chat. He called his Black neighbors monkeys. Yes, he did. But he's the one slinging feces. You got that right. You ain't never lie. You ain't never lie about that one. So, everybody, please enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much for being here. And I have another one coming up later on today on Reggie Ray, the chairman at the Montgomery Riverfront Brawl. He got his sentence. And the good part is he will not have to serve any jail time. So I hope to see each and every one of you there. Please, y'all feel free. Make sure you like the video, share it, and put your comments in the comment section because I love reading your comments. Some of y'all are really clever in your comments. Peace, family.